Let's learn the facts before bringing more drugs into our community. Go to citizensforsafemedicine.org. That's citizensforsafemedicine.org.
At the KSMO studios here at 1340, time for our Mayor's Moments. And because we have Mayor's Moments, we have our mayor. Well, it kind of makes sense. Anyway, Mayor Brad Nash is with us this morning. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Fine. It's the day.
It
Not
is.
the day. It's the day.
The day.
To get out and vote.
Yes.
And it is lots of different races going on and stuff. And we've seen and heard trillions and trillions of ads and stuff, and I hope everybody did their own homework.
I do too.
Don't listen and don't watch and hear and just assume that everybody's telling you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. This isn't Perry Mason, guys. This is an opportunity that people have to vote their conscience and their mind. But also, if you do some investigation, you'll find that there's a semblance of truth in everything, not maybe much, but in elections they tend to extrapolate that out into a lot more sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway, just do your own research, do your homework, find out before you go. Hopefully you've already got your sample ballot to where you can mark it down and take that cheat sheet in, or pulling out a Salem News from last week or this past week on Tuesday and fill it out, take it with you. Because there's a lot of issues there. And you can still go online. If you want to get the fair ballot language and you haven't picked one up, there's still some down at the county clerk's office in the courthouse. You can still go down there. It's going to be a crazy place down there because they got people in and out of there all the time. But there's no voting down there, so you can go get a ballot. You can go get that fair ballot language. Or you can go on the Secretary of State's website, sos.mo.gov. And they do have that in there. Just go to the election. You can find it on issues, etc. You have to go, I think, program and issues or something of that nature. But click on it. You'll find it. You keep clicking around there, you'll find it. And or just put in fair ballot language, and it will come up in the search box. Good to read that, because if you don't, that legalese that you try and read there at the ballot box, good luck.
Yeah, a lot of that doesn't make sense to me. I have to get the fair ballot language. And like you said, grab one of those sample ballots and fill it out before you go. Take it with you. There's so many things on the ballot this year or this time around. And, just very important. Know what you're voting for.
One of the things I would love to see, Brad, instead of having all these political ads, is just have people that would be able to sit down and just explain the whole law or where it came from. I mean, if you go down to the county courthouse and you happen to see that, I will say, paper wall that you see there with all this information, that's everything that happened to get that on the ballot. There's like 700 pages. That's just all over the wall, okay? So when you read that, you find out all the different things, where they all came from, how they're on the ballot, etc. Now, I want somebody to just stand up and say, okay, this is good for these people, not good for these people. This is good for these people. This is not good for these people. You've got 3 marijuana issues on there.
Mm-hmm.
Why 3?
Yeah.
Made a lot of no sense to me. We have one with even redistricting on it. We have one with MoDOT in it. We have judges on there that I think have kind of taken a real big backseat to this one. I know Missouri Bar has been putting out there a little bit about, researching, but Brad, you know as well as I do, you've got to really know what these issues are about before you can vote, because sometimes the wording, a no means yes and a yes means no.
It does, and I question some of that sometimes and how fair that is. It's some of that you kind of sit there and scratch your head and say, okay, are we trying to play tricks on people, or because of that issue. It just makes it really rough at times. So just do your homework, please.
Do your homework and do your best and get out and vote. You have till 7 o'clock tonight. Remember, an ID. Doesn't have to be a photo ID. It can be your voter registration card. It could be a City of Salem utility bill and then your county electric bill with your name and address on it.
Yes.
It must match where you live. And so if you do that, you can go in there and vote. Okay? But get out and vote. They are expecting about 70%.
I left the fire station and came straight up here, and since I'd been there, I got there about 7:30 this morning, and the lines have been pretty steady. So
get out and vote, guys, and Should be and the day's perfect. Don't have to worry
Yeah.
about getting rained on.
Yep.
Everybody yesterday was telling me, "Are you sure it's not going to rain?" I said, "I bet my election on it." But what else? What else you got to do? All right. Well, we had a Board of Aldermen meeting last night.
Yes, we did.
And that's why Brad's here. Not because he's a blues fan or likes to just talk. And we can talk about the marching blue too. If you want to.
Absolutely.
But we can do a lot of different things. But we're going to talk about the Board of Aldermen meeting last night. Well, prior to the meeting, though, we did have a little get-together from 5 until 7 at the City Hall Auditorium.
Uh-huh.
And I got to meet the new Economic Development Director, Sally Burbridge. And so a very nice lady, very intelligent lady. And I think a lot of people who showed up, I think, were very impressed by the new Economic Development Director.
I agree, and I am really excited that Sally has joined our team, so to speak, and yesterday was her first official day, and so we've kind of thrown her into the fire, and like you said, we done the little meet and greet prior to the Alderman meeting, and had a really good turnout, I'm really excited for Sally. She's very down to earth, and I believe she's going to bring a lot to the table for us, and hopefully push us to move forward.
Everybody will have high expectations right off the bat,
Sure.
And Sally's got to get in, got to get her feet wet, got to figure out what has been done, what hasn't been done, what can city actually do. I mean, there's a lot of different things that she's going to have to get acquainted with, and I hope people give her time to get acclimated to the entire situation. But it is it's always a tough chore when you come into a town. Now she's from the area originally, in the area, but not from Salem originally, and so she's very familiar with this. And she's coming off a job out in, is it New Mexico?
New Mexico, yes.
Okay, so she's familiar with how these things are supposed to go, but New Mexico and Dent County, Missouri are two whole different dogs.
Absolutely. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there, and she has already started making some acquaintances and meeting some people that can really help her. And like I said, things that we do in Missouri is going to be a little bit different than the way they do them in New Mexico, and so we'll get all that worked out, and I'm very confident that she'll get that nailed down pretty quick. And there was a couple people that I'd heard last night that walked up to her, and they're like, "Well, what's your goals? What do you plan to do?" And it's kind of like you said, yesterday was her first day on the job. Give her a little bit of time. She needs a chance to figure out exactly what's going on, and we'll be able to talk more about goals and that type of thing later on down the road.
Right.
But
and one of the neat things that the city has done, and you have worked with the MRPC and putting that 5-year plan together and different things of that nature. There's different things going on currently with some groups doing different things. Obviously, the Grow group and etc. But also, you have other assessments that have been done within the city that she's going to have to get familiar with.
Sure.
And then she's going to have to make an assessment of where are the strengths, where are the weaknesses, what can we do, what can't we do. If you're, economic development director does not mean she's going to go out and look for the first factory she can find, plug it in at the first spot she can find, and hopefully attract 27,000 new jobs. Which would be a lot.
yeah.
But what it is okay, maybe we can add, maybe we can expand some of the current businesses here. Maybe we can do some different things currently and start adding jobs slowly rather than trying to get a whole bunch of jobs in at one time. And of course, we've seen that in the past where they move right back out, or they move out within 3 to 5 years, and you're right back in the same situation. So the long-term goal will definitely be much different than your short-term goal, and that's what she's going to have to figure all this out, and so that's going to take some time. But you have to do a full assessment, and I look forward to hearing what her thoughts are. I want to sit down with her, I think, and I told her, I said, get your feet wet, get acclimated a little bit, and maybe in a couple of weeks we'll sit down, we'll just kind of have a little chat just to see where everybody stands and try and get her up to date on what the park board was doing. Did that last night, just a little bit of real surface, just topical stuff. But I think, your economic development director needs to know about your park system.
Absolutely. And that's one of the draws for some people, bringing them into your communities.
Exactly.
what do we have for their kids? What about our park systems? What's some different activities around the area? And so it's like we said, it's going to take a little bit to get her plugged in and be familiar with a lot of that stuff, but we'll get there.
I couldn't believe she didn't have a full report yesterday.
Yeah. I told her she could have 20 minutes or less prior to the meeting, and
she probably wouldn't be able to get all in that time.
Yeah.
No, very good. But anyway, we welcome on Sally Burbridge into the city of Salem as the new economic development director. And we want to also, and I know that we're not really on the agenda yet, but we also want to thank the Denton County Commission. They also approved a little bit of extra money to help with the economic development direction, because it's not just Salem.
Yes.
It's Denton County as well.
Yes, that is correct. And also the IDA board kicked in a little bit to kind of help with that as well. And so we definitely appreciate that.
Tip a cap to everybody who has made it possible for Sally to come here. And when you talk about it, it's kind of like the perfect storm.
Yeah.
For her to be here. Really everything kind of fell into place nicely, and that doesn't always happen. Maybe that's an omen.
I hope so.
I do too. I think it's good. All right, very good. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about the meeting last night. We had a sewer machine tank that we needed for the sewer machine. Obviously, it's a tank. Okay, it's a big tank. It's a metal tank, and something had to be done with the one we currently have because it's not working right. And so bids were put out, and 3 bids were received, but the bid was actually presented. The best bid was for our local company, Quality Machine and Fabrication, and they're going to do kind of a custom tank. From everything that was reported. So, well, that's going to be the best of both worlds there.
It really is. And the tank that is currently on the machine is a poly tank or a plastic tank, and it's leaking. And so we've got to replace that. And so 2 of the bids that we received, they bid to go back with that poly tank. And bid number 3, which was for Quality Machine, they actually bid to custom build a stainless steel tank for that, which, if they do that, a stainless steel tank it's going to last forever. It'll way outlast the machine and all of the other components and everything.
Because a poly tank, correct me if I'm wrong, has to have seams. And a stainless steel tank does not have to have seams.
Yeah.
And those seams eventually, with the bouncing and moving and different things of that nature, will split.
Sure.
Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. So what we ended up doing, the board approved bid number 3 last night for Quality Machine, which was for $6,400. We had another bid for EJ Equipment in Troy, Illinois, and that was $8,397. And then we had another bid for Co-Equipment out of Rochester, Illinois. That was $11,548. And, one of the great things with this, and also it goes along with the shopping locally thing, because we're able to have Quality Machine do this, our other options, we were looking at having to rent another sewer machine, which is very expensive. Some of these, they were talking about having to have the sewer machine there, and then they would order the tank, and then when they got it in, they would disassemble it, put the new tank in, and so, they were talking, a few weeks to be able to do this. With Quality Machine, the guys are going to take the sewer machine out there. They're going to do some measurements. We get the sewer machine back. As soon as they get the tank built, then we take it back out there, and they said it'll take them a day to remove the old tank and put the new one in, and then we've got it back. So great turnaround, great price, and we're able to shop locally to get that done.
And pay less.
And pay a lot less.
And got a custom tank built.
Yeah, and it's a better tank. A stainless steel versus the poly tank,
right.
Is definitely a lot better. tank as well.
Right, and I think the comment that Jack Emery made is that he goes, both of those other bidders said that would be the best way to go.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, not that they want to take money out of their pocket, but if you're going to have a stainless steel tank built,
Sure.
and the weight's going to be coming in about 1,000 pounds, and both of them agreed that weight is still okay on that machine. So, hey, why not do it that way?
Absolutely.
So, very good. So the board did approve that bid from Quality Machine Fabrication right here in Salem on the Industrial Park. So very good. Always like to see that money kept right here in town. Then we had a report after the consent agenda, which did not feature a heck of a lot, but we did have the Public Works Director's report that was submitted to the aldermen, and they had a chance to take a look at that and ask Mr. Mark Nash any questions that they have. But there are no questions about the report itself. Was there anything on there that you thought you wanted to highlight a little bit of what the city's doing?
It was his reports. We've kind of changed the reporting or the way that they do the reporting. They in times past, when the superintendents would give a report to the alderman, it would talk about on certain day we cleaned the shop. On certain day, it was raining, and so we
kind of
did
like a journal.
Or it really was.
Yeah.
It was more of a journal than a report, and it's been nice since Mark has stepped in. We've kind of gotten rid of some of that. I mean, it's still important that we keep our shops clean, that we keep our trucks maintenanced and that type of thing. But as far as the alderman side of things, what we really want to know is what's being done. And so some of the things that he highlighted in his report, they've been working on, and I'm sure people have seen doing or filling cracks in the street for the street department. We've been working on that.
They dig a big hole in the fire department parking lot.
There is. They had to move the fire hydrant at the fire station. And so they're still working on that, trying to get that all nailed down. But the water department has been working on that. The electric department, they've been working on some upgrades in some services around town. They also had a big project at the PCRMC. They had to set a big transformer to operate that building when it's able to go. They've been working on some stump grinding, trying to get all that done from some of the trees and stuff that they've removed. And then the construction department, they've been really busy as well. They've been out at the airport. They've been working on a few drainage drop boxes around town, and they're getting ready to go to the old city hall and working on some painting and stuff there, as well as fixing the ceiling that they had to remove because of the roof leaks. Right. And so, there's a lot of good projects going on right now, and so we have a lot of things
people may not
going.
see people working, but they're getting a job done.
Absolutely.
And with the construction crew right now, outside work after Friday, when it's supposed to hit 21, is probably going to be very, very limited in scope.
Yeah, exactly.
So
this way, we've got some projects that we've got for them that's going to be indoors, and they can hop on those and hopefully get them through the winter time, or at least the worst part of winter, where they can be inside and make some progress in those areas as well.
Very good. Fantastic. Okay, Mr. Walden, the city administrator, was there. He looked, his shoulders looked a lot lighter.
They did.
He was a lot happier yesterday. Very good. But actually, he introduced Sally to the aldermen who were there, in case they didn't get a chance to talk to her in the meet and greet. But then did remind everybody that the city offices will be closed for the Veterans Day holiday, which will be actually celebrated on Monday, November 12th, which is a tremendous day anyway. I mean, it's my birthday. So, I mean, that should be a national holiday.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what they meant. Ray said they'd be closed for Veterans Day, but I'm sure it was
that's probably
for your birthday.
I'm sure it was. I didn't quiz him on it, but
Yeah, I'm
didn't
sure.
think we need to. But again, we do want to remind you, city offices will be closed on Monday, November 12th.
Yes.
In honor of Veterans Day. So,
Yes.
Don't come in to pay your bill, but you can put it through the slot there and the deposit slot. You can do that, but nobody will be there and on that day.
Yes.
Okay? And if you have an issue, contact Salem Police Department on that day, and they can get a hold of the needed people. If you have a leak or electric problem, if need be, then they can take care of it through them.
That is correct.
Very good. All right, Mr. Walden did point out that some people are walking by the pool. We do. A lot of people like to walk our park, which is fantastic, and we do appreciate that. And some of them have seen that there's water in the pool. Well, they haven't seen water in our pool after it's been winterized, and
Sure.
I don't think the last 20 years.
Not that I'm aware of.
It's been a long time. They used to have an old cover for that pool. Used to leave the water in many, many, many moons ago. But this time there is water in the pool, and I think people are probably saying, "Hey, did you know there's water in the pool?" Yes, there is water in the pool, and so he asked, and I was able to come up with some reasons for that. That's the Westport Pool's recommended that we keep water in the pool. All the pipes have been blown out; they all been winterized, but the water is being left in the pool right now, actually, for the liner. Keeping pressure in the pool to where, if you do have any water gets underneath your pool and you get a super cold winter, it can pop your pool right out of the ground. Well, this will keep the weight in the pool, but also there's something about the liner. It has to hold condensation, so as long as there's water in there, and I can't remember how deep it had to be, but I remember it was like 5-6 feet in the deep end. I think it comes up into the middle part a little, and that's it. And I don't know if they put more in there afterwards, but they said they would at least try to keep that much in there. That will keep the liner moist. Because we all know, Brad, and Missouri's kind of weird, to where one day it's 85 degrees, the next day it's 22.
Absolutely.
And so that expansion and contraction takes a lot of wear and tear, especially if we have no shade out there. So that sun beats right down on that liner, and it could eventually, over time, make it a little bit more brittle. So the idea with the moisture in there keeps it nice and, let's say, hydrated.
Yeah.
Like we're all supposed to stay hydrated, and that will make that liner last a lot longer.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea behind it. But the pool, yes, it is winterized. All the water shut off to the pool, and there's no need to worry about the water being in the pool.
That is correct. It is
Very
done.
good. Also, the splash pad has been winterized. Otherwise, we could all go out there some Saturday morning when it's 20 degrees and really see how cold water can be coming out of it.
We could ice skate.
They possibly could. They might. But anyway, I want to let everybody know that's all been winterized as well, as have the bathrooms now at the city park. So the bathrooms are no longer open at the city park. And I wish we could keep them open with a heating system, but it wasn't available at the time that they built those bathrooms, so those pipes were in the concrete block.
Sure.
It's going to be hard to do. So
Anyhow,
so all the city park restrooms have been winterized, and they are no longer available, so please don't use them.
that is correct. That would be appreciated.
Yeah, I think the door should be locked to them, but anyway, that again, the water in the pool is recommended by Westport Pool, and they did come winterize it, and they will be the ones that will come in the spring and get it ready for next year.
Yes.
They put it all down, and they're going to know more about that than we do. So,
Absolutely.
if there was some technical stuff that they needed, I could get it in a heartbeat, but I think it's pretty well self-explanatory, keeping some water on that surface, keep it going.
I was thinking about that later, and it's the same thing with the liners and everybody's above ground pool that they have. If you remove all the water, it's your liner by the next
be brittle.
Next year is going to be brittle, and you're going to end up replacing it. And so it makes sense.
And by keeping water in the pool, when it does freeze, it will expand. And that liner can keep it from cracking the pool, because it'll allow it to rise and fall without getting too much problem, and which is also good too. So,
absolutely,
but also keeps the weight in that pool, keep it from popping up. All right, very good. Let's move on to resolution number 4, 2018. Now, I think this was talked about here, I think a couple meetings ago, where the city is looking at getting a DNR grant for $500,000.
Yes.
That's a nice chunk of change on this project. which we all know is a very expensive project. We're talking about the wastewater treatment facility. This is something that the city didn't come along and say, hey, you know what, we need to tear out our reed beds and redo this whole thing just because.
It sounds exciting.
Yeah. This is being forced upon the city by new regulation. And so to get a little bit of, and I say a little bit of help, 500,000 is a nice little bit.
Absolutely.
But it's still, there are some additional costs that have to be done to get the grant. We all know that. That's the way grants work. But you have to have the resolution to allow you to go get the grant.
That is correct. And so resolution number 4-2018 was passed last night. And there again, like you said, it just gives us, or me, authority to sign the paperwork for that grant to help us out in that area. So,
for the construction of the new headworks facility, hydraulic improvements, and implementation of an oxidation ditch.
sounds great, don't it?
Nope. I have no idea what any of that would. Well, I know what the headworks is, and I know what hydraulics are, but I'm not sure what the hydraulics are going to be used for out there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. What is interesting to me with today's technology, we do have so many different things that happen. The old reed beds were one thing, and I know the aerators and things around there. That all was pretty logical stuff. Now they come up with some stuff that I look at and I'm like, why do we do that? I mean, there's probably a good reason, but when you just look at the surface, you're thinking, who came up with that?
Well, and it's really.
I understand the oxidation ditch. Gotta have it.
It's really interesting, and some of the equipment that we had to that we just installed was the ultraviolet light, and I don't understand how a lot of that works. I mean, you see the light, and you see this water just flying past it, and it's like, what's that supposed to do? How does that work? But it works.
It does.
It works. So
yeah. Anyway,
it works really well.
I don't know how it works either, but anyway, there's a lot of different things, and so this was step one in getting it moving forward. So resolution number 4 was passed. Then bill number 3404 was an ordinance that kind of got changed when the conceal and carry laws came in. Some of the weapons ordinances the city had got altered.
It did. And this deals with specifically like the school's archery program that they have, and
Indian Trail out here.
We have Indian Trail Archery, and this was changed to allow them to do that. And then when the recodification that the city done, when that went through, we missed this little piece because that was something that we put in on our own. And so this just kind of goes back and cleans that up and puts that back in there that allows them to function like they were.
Yeah,
so.
I remember when the NASP program, they actually came in and started talking about it. They did come to the aldermen to get approval as an exception to the weapons rule.
Yes.
And so that's what this was under, that exceptions. And so it had to be put back in.
Yeah.
Which it was approved and put back in.
Yes.
Very good. All right. And then bill number 3405, we're going to go right back to that grant again. This is make a little change in task number 3. I love that. I don't know what task 1 and 2 were, but task number 3, we had to make a little change. And basically what this is it's not costing more money to do the project, but we're having to shift some money further ahead for the grant. And to do some different things that probably were not going to be done till later on, right?
Yeah, and this has to do with the engineering portion of it. And because we got the grant, there are some things that they have to do now that they really wasn't
going to do till later.
Yeah, and so that just changes that timeline a little bit and allows us to get that done. Because if we don't do that, we can't get the grant. And so this just kind of helps us out. And they're playing simultaneously to each other. So what DNR has allowed Salem to do, since they already got started on this, and when you get to the grant, it's just you have to make that change and provide them with the needed information they need to be able to actually apply for that grant.
And so anyway, it'll work out. But the city was going to have to do this anyway.
Uh-huh.
It's just moving that portion of what they had to do forward a little bit in time.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was approved by the aldermen with a unanimous vote. I love it though. Task number 3 kind of reminds me of John Lennon's Dream number 9. What are the first 8? Were they no good? What's going on? I love that stuff. Anyway, and then also we had a library board appointment at the alderman meeting. Liz Condrey has stepped down, and she has served the library board well for many years.
Yes, she has.
But they needed somebody to replace her.
And so the library board asked the Board of Aldermen to take into consideration to appoint Stephen Patterson to the library board, and he was, in fact, or that was approved last night for him to be on that board.
Very good. And so, are there terms on that board? Limits?
Yes.
Length of time?
Yes. I don't remember what they are, but yes, there are
I don't
terms.
either. Because I went back to my old board list of people, and I don't have anything on the library board. That's like, I know you guys appointed, but I don't have anything on it. So, yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, it's very interesting. And that was really the whole meeting last night. Didn't take a whole lot of time, but it was some very important stuff that had to be done. And we do want to remind everybody that the alderman meetings are the first and third Mondays, unless they happen to fall on a holiday, etc. And then at 7 o'clock at the City Hall Council Chambers, unless there needs to be moved for a special reason.
Sure.
Sometimes video presentations, etc., are better in a different location.
Yeah.
Now, Brad, and here we get, and I know everybody always starts talking about this. Here we are in November. We always know that the city puts out their decorations, usually somewhere very close to Thanksgiving. Some people are going to start seeing some different things go up on on the poles and things of that nature, the decorations. I hope people realize that the city works with the county to do the courthouse, to light it up. They also do all of the different decorations, and the city has to store all those decorations. I mean, you start looking about every pole today of a decoration on. That is a lot of decorations.
It's a lot of decorations.
And that takes a couple 2 to 3 days for them to finally get all that
I believe so.
done.
That's correct.
Yeah. So if you see the trucks out and about near the poles and you're kind of wondering, why are they in the middle of the road? Reason.
Yep.
Getting ready for Christmas.
It's that time of year. So just if you see the guys out, they're out on the busy streets putting these out, the main streets of town, and so just be careful because they are going to be walking in and out of traffic, and they try to watch, but sometimes you get a little focused on your job, and there's no sense in having a pointless accident. And so, if you see any of the utility crews, at any time, or law enforcement out in the road, please be careful.
Okay. I have 2 other things I want to talk about. The next thing is we're getting close to winter. I know, and there actually is a snow word in there. So,
the S
not
word.
that it's not that it's going to affect the streets right now, but we want to remind everybody that there are snow routes in Salem, and I think some people forget that. If you don't know where the snow routes are, or you'd like to know what happens when snow does happen, if you live on a snow route, maybe you just moved to town, you can go get that at the city administrative offices where the snow routes are, and what your responsibilities are. Obviously, please don't park on the street when they predict accumulating snow. And I kind of add ice to that too, because when the guys come by and they're trying to put down either salt or the mix of salt and some gravel or soot, something to make it give some traction. If there's vehicles there, obviously it's not going to help the road and where we're sitting, but also there could be some damage and somebody could slide into you.
Sure.
So please get off there. When it comes to snow, though, snow removal, that's very important to get that road cleared off. So if you don't move your vehicle, the city could have you towed.
Absolutely.
I don't remember when the last one was been towed, but
yeah.
I remember a few years back we had that big 20-inch snow. They had to tow some vehicles.
Absolutely, and that's an option. Or if they don't have you towed, the snowplow has to go around you, and then of course
it buries your car.
And puts a big snowbank around it.
And you're not happy.
No, you're not happy at all. But just watch that. Really watch the weather through this time. And if you are in those areas, please get your car off the road, and it makes it a lot easier for the guys when they're blading those routes. And like you said, if they're having to put down salt, or sometimes they put down the little rocks. I can't remember what they're called.
Kind of like, it's kind of like sand and gravel.
Grit.
Yeah.
If they put that down.
Used to put ashes down at one time.
Yeah. But there is a possibility, if your car's sitting alongside the road, that they could damage your car. Not that they try to do that on purpose, of course. But if it's on a snow route, it's not supposed to be there. But yes, and so definitely, take the time, watch the weather forecasts and everything, and if you can at all, get them cars moved off those snow routes.
You can also listen to the forecast.
Yeah.
Right here.
Absolutely.
We're a lot more accurate in Springfield, I can tell you that right now. Okay. So, that was the one thing I wanted to bring up. The second thing is that we have had a few reports lately of people stealing electricity from the city. This is a very very dangerous thing to do, to try and tap in and steal electricity. You can get electrocuted, but also it's not safe to go into your home that way.
Absolutely. Depending on how people do it, you take away a lot of the safety things that you have in your house, that if you have a surge or something like that protects you from that. And so the risk is definitely not worth what you get out of it. So please don't do that.
Plus, and this is what I don't understand when people want to steal electricity. If your electric goes out, or a tree falls on your electric line that you're stealing electricity from, and you call, how are you going to call? You really can't call. But if there is a problem, or if they discover that you are maybe you're stealing electricity off a transformer, well, you might be taxing that transformer, not just for you, but also your neighbors. The transformers they're designed to only do so many houses.
Yeah.
Some do 2, some just do 1. Some of their larger transformers take care of 4, etc. Or more. But Brad, that's not something we want people to be doing, is on your own climate electric utility pole and trying to re-establish electric. Not a good idea. Guys, please don't do that. There's special equipment these guys have that can protect them from different things. And you just never... Electricity is a real sneaky kind of monster.
Sure.
So we really don't want anybody to get that done. But stealing electricity is a major fine, isn't it?
Absolutely. And there could be, they can file charges against you, and then having to go to court and all that. And like I said, in the long run, it's just not worth it.
Okay, very good. All right, so that's really all I had to talk about. Got anything else you want to?
I don't think. I think that covered everything.
Very good. Okay, now we got a big toy. Now we're going to get off city for a while. We got a big toy drive coming up.
Yes, we do.
Okay, you want to just touch on that for a little bit?
We do. Let me pull my phone out. I just got the sign-up dates for that last night. The actual giveaway is going to be on December the 19th. Okay. And then sign-ups are going to be the Monday and Thursday after Thanksgiving, that following week from 3 to 6 at the fire station.
Okay.
They are still collecting toys. They will be up until the date of the toy drive. So if you have some slightly used toys, we will accept those.
They use the term gently.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of children like to beat things.
Yeah, and the way I look at it, and there's every year we'll get a few boxes of stuff that just
has been wore out.
We're just not able to use. And so, look at it. If it's not something that you would give to your child to play with, then probably don't need to bring it to the toy drive. And I don't mean that to sound mean, but we want to give these kids the best toys that we can.
Right. If you have a doll that's ripped or has it's falling apart, please don't do it.
Yeah,
You guys don't have time to repair all this.
No, not at all. And so, gently used toys or new, you can drop them off at the fire station. If something happens and somebody is not there, you can leave them at the front door.
And they can bring them here if they want. You can drop them off in our front office. We don't care.
Absolutely. And they'll be safe. Nobody will bother them. And so it's a good time. We're really looking forward to this year. Really looking forward to getting going and seeing what happens.
Yeah, they just had a fundraiser at the community center here. About 10 days ago.
Yeah, they done the Quarter Mania there, and the best that I understand, they raised a little over $1,000 for that. So we really appreciate that. Really appreciate everybody that come out and supports that event.
Very good. That toy drive, again, the sign-ups, and that's for your children, to sign up your children, will be that first Monday and Thursday after Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving, yes.
Okay, very good. And then 19th of December will be the day that they'll be distributed.
Uh-huh.
All right, so I want to remind everybody at that time, 3 until 6 at the fire station.
Yes.
Guys, you got to make it to one of the two.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And occasionally they've had to add one somewhere in there, but we'll just, we'll have to see how the first, cause especially if the weather gets bad.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to add one or two. So, anyway, but those are the dates to sign up. Make sure you write that down. We'll get you more information out on that. I mean, we've still got plenty of time to do it. But if you're hearing it here and you know that you're going to want to sign up your children for that, definitely want to make sure you put it down. Just go to the calendar, and right after you see Thanksgiving, I think what is that, the 26th and the 29th of November. If I'm right. Is that right, Brad?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
So those are the days. So
Uh-huh.
now that you know, you can actually stencil it and put it on your refrigerator.
And we'll post that on the doors at the fire station. So, anytime you want to come by and look at that, you can. If you have any questions, you can call me at the fire station at 729-3250. Or if you have Facebook, they do have a Facebook page for the toy drive that you can friend and ask questions on there as well.
Very good. Busy time of year, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
It's exciting, but
so before we get too far into this, we just had our change back to daylight Central Standard Time. Daylight savings time is gone. Usually at the time, and people should check their smoke detectors.
Yes.
Change those batteries out. And I know we're a couple days late, but Brad, there's nothing wrong with doing that now.
There is not. And, we've had a few contact us at the fire station, for the elderly folks or the ones that have health issues that live in our fire district. Call us, and if you need help switching those batteries out, and we are more than happy to come out and help do that. Now, just you have to remember, just because you called today does not mean that we'll get out there today. We will try our best to do that because that's very important that those work and they're functioning properly. But give us a call if you need help with those. We will definitely do that. If you need a new one.
They do get old, and sometimes they don't work very well.
Yeah, after 10 years, you're supposed to replace those.
And if you go and use the test and it doesn't give you anything, either the battery's bad, and if you've changed the battery, it might be dead.
Yeah, and so, if they're older, what we will do as well, if you go to Walmart and you purchase them, give us a call and we'll come and install them for you in the proper locations. And like I said, please give us a day or two notice, for us to be able to do that. Like you said, this time of year is really busy for us, but we'll get there as soon as we can.
Okay, and then I'm going to put your fire hat on for just a minute now because we're starting to get to the point that it's getting cold at night. I've seen some fires in fireplaces, but not everybody, but it's getting to the point we hit down about 20 degrees on Saturday morning. I have a feeling a few more fireplaces are going to find the wood.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, but we talked about it, I think, 2 meetings ago. guys, this is going to be very dangerous. Yeah, hopefully you've had a chance to get that chimney cleaned out. If you do a lot of burning of firewood in there and you don't clean it out, you have a very good chance of getting a flue fire.
That
and
is
that
correct.
is not something you want to have over the holiday period. You just
That
don't
is
want to be
correct.
fighting a fire.
And I guarantee it'll happen at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's
It
the
never,
worst time.
yeah, it never happens during convenient hours of the day. And so, if you haven't had yours cleaned out this year, please do that. Even if you've started using it, go ahead and, if you're comfortable doing it yourself, that's fine. If not, call a professional, have them come in and look at it.
And there are some around town, by the way,
yes.
in the area.
And have that done. For the cost benefit that you get from that, is definitely well worth it. If you have a flue fire and you bust your clay tile in your flue, that is really expensive to replace.
Kind of hard to get in there and change it out, isn't it?
It really is. Or you have to buy a stainless steel liner
That's usually
and put in there, which is not cheap either. So take care of it. Call somebody and have them come and look at it and get that cleaned out good for you.
Very good. All right, and I'm gonna ask one thing, because this is always very important to me. One of the best Christmas gifts that anybody can get you would be fire extinguishers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're not talking about these long-lasting, lifetime guarantee fire extinguishers. Just you can get the ABC type fire extinguishers. They're not all that expensive.
No.
And one of the things you should probably have one virtually in every single room. Don't think that that's always going to extinguish a fire, but it'll give you a chance to get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's all you have time for, it'll give you that 8 seconds that you need to get out of that room and get that fire extinguished for a short period of time. Do not think that you can go through your whole house with that one little fire extinguisher and put out the whole fire.
No.
Now, if you have a fire that starts up right away and you can reach in and get it out before it can spread, great. But the idea is that it's safety enough that you can reach it, get it, smother the fire for a short period of time, get your booty out of there, and get to safety. But do you not agree? That's one of the best. Who thinks about that at Christmas time? Except it really is very important.
Absolutely. And, we have situations, too, around the holiday. We have folks that like real Christmas trees. You put the Christmas trees up, and then, you use some of the older lights. Well, then the tree dries out, and, you can have fires that way. It's real easy, with the cooking and splashing grease, or it happened to be a dirty oven, that type of thing. It just happens so easy. Don't take it for granted. Like I said, have those safety precautions in place, and hopefully you never have to use it. It's kind of like insurance.
Yeah. But it works.
It does.
Yeah.
Make sure you have those items in place for the safety of you and your family.
Right, and I always recommend one in the kitchen, one in the bedrooms. If you have children in every bedroom, one should be in every bedroom, and they should know how to use it. Pull that pin and squirt. And then also possibly one in your garage, or where near where your furnace is, or if you near your fireplace, if you use your fireplace more, just to have it there. How many times have I can remember in our old house, an ember would shoot out and get on the carpet, but it wouldn't just come out 3 inches. It would shoot out of that thing about 7 feet.
Absolutely.
And be across the room. If you're sitting there, it could hit you in the chest, catch your shirt on fire or something of that nature. But if it goes out on that carpet, well, most carpet today is fire retardant. But if you have a throw rug there, that's not. And so that can catch on fire. And then, Brad, you're experiencing this. Before you know it, once a fire starts, it looks for ways to spread.
Absolutely.
Whether it be furniture, drapery, just napkins around, something that's sitting out, clothing, whatever it might fall on. Once it ignites, it's really hard to go back in time and say, I wish I wouldn't have had that sitting there.
It is. And, the statistics from the National Fire Protection Association says, that a fire will double every minute. You figure even just a little bitty fire, every minute that thing's doubling, that it's going to get big in a hurry. And one thing that I'd like to touch on too, and you had made a comment, we go into houses a lot of times, and the ones that do have fire extinguishers, like you said, they've got them in the same closet as your furnace. That's not going to do you a whole lot of good. Put it close to them. But if if that's the area that you're trying to protect, you don't want your fire extinguisher in that area. Because if it's on fire, you're not going to be able to get to it. So set it somewhere outside of that area that you're concerned about. And, it's same thing with the kitchen. Put it under the kitchen sink. Don't set it in the cabinet that's right next to the stove.
Yeah.
Because if the stove's on fire, you're not going to be able to get to the fire extinguisher.
Usually your sink is not on fire.
Yeah. So
Could
just
be.
when it comes time to placing those things, just think about that. What areas are you trying to protect, and where you can place these to where if that area is on fire, that you can still get to your extinguisher to help with that.
And everybody needs to know where it is. Not just, it's there.
Yeah.
But if nobody knows it's there, it doesn't do you much good. So you need
Sure.
to have it in your kitchen sink. When you put it underneath the kitchen sink, don't put it in the very back behind all the, the shut-off valves. Guys, I know we'd like to not ever have to do it, but put it there right at the edge. When you open that door, you can grab it. And as Brad said, if it doubles every minute, you can imagine when you first see one, if you see it and it's a little fire, you want to keep it a little fire. You want to get that thing put out right away. And I guess that when you're starting to talk about a little bit about furnaces, a lot of people, and I know, and when I moved into my house originally, Brad, that furnace was in the right in the path where the only hallway was back to the bedrooms.
Sure.
The only way out was right by that furnace. Well, if that furnace is on fire, you got no way out unless you try and break a window and go out a bedroom window, which you can do. However, it's nice to have that fire extinguisher even there because you can break out the glass with a fire extinguisher and not try and use your hand or a belt buckle or something like that to where you can clean that area out so you can get out that house safely. But please think about that. And I actually had my furnace moved out to the garage because I didn't want it there. That's just too dangerous. Because if it does, after a while, got in a little closet, it gets pretty warm.
Sure.
In that closet. Not to say you don't want that warmth from the furnace in there, but if you have a heat exchanger starts going bad, the carbon dioxide builds up quickly in your home. Plus the flames are coming out around your heat exchanger or through it, if it does eventually go, and that can be very dangerous.
Yes.
And that can catch your sidewalls on fire. You don't even know until it's too late. So we don't want that to happen. So I actually had mine moved out to the garage. It's now in open air. Yeah, it's a little cooler when it first comes on, and that's true, but it doesn't take very long to heat up and get the hot air going back into, but it's a lot safer. You got a lot more air out there, and if it does catch on fire out there, it's in the garage. There's nothing really there except concrete.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I might mention, too, October was Fire Prevention Month, and we got to see a lot of kids come through the fire station, and we took the trucks to some of the schools and everything that they weren't able to make it to the fire station. But, one of the big pushes that the fire service has this year and that they have going is, when you're asleep. And they're really pushing now that when you're asleep, sleep with your door shut. There's been throughout the years it's got to be open. No, it's got to be shut. No, it's got to be open. They've done all kinds of research now, and they're showing that if you will sleep with your door shut, that gives you a lot longer time or your chances of escaping a house fire. So when your kids go to sleep, shut their doors. Make sure you probably have to have, for the little kids, you'll have to have some monitors or whatever to check on them, but make sure those doors are shut. And like I said, if you want to look at some studies, there's all kinds of studies online. They've got some videos on YouTube. They go into houses and into these training houses and they set fires. They'll leave one bedroom door open, another one shut, and then compare, the two, and it's amazing the difference. And so, make sure that you're keeping your bedroom doors shut at night.
Because fire thrives on air, and if it can get into another area where it's looking for air, so if the door's open and it just goes, and especially since fire usually rises, a lot of times it's at the ceiling level, it just goes right around that door jamb and right into the next room, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
So it spreads that way, and then it's already there. You can't close the door after the fact and get it back out. It doesn't work that way. So, very good. Otherwise, it has to try to creep in underneath the door.
And, most of the time when you look at the fatality statistics and that type of thing, a lot of times people don't die in a fire because of the actual fire. It's the smoke and the carbon monoxide. And so the longer you can stay away from that, the better chance you have of surviving.
We've already talked about carbon monoxide detectors. Those also need to be changed out, guys. Have those lower to the ground. Carbon monoxide needs to be down low. Your fire smoke alarms, I should say, should be up high. Some would say they're a smoke alarm carbon monoxide detector. I'm not sure how well that actually works because, the carbon monoxide is heavier. The CO is heavier than CO2, so it goes down. I don't know what good it'd be doing on your ceiling up there.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure it has some purpose.
Sure.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
But if you do get just a CO2 cartridge, make sure that's down low most of them are plug-in, not just battery. They might have a battery backup, but most of them are plug-in. And boy, if you have CO in your home, you're gonna know it, man. Those things go off. They go off loud because if you're already breathing CO, you're gonna be very groggy. When you wake up. So
and there again, if anybody has any questions of placement of fire extinguishers, placement of smoke alarms, whatever, give us a call at the fire station, and we can walk you through that process.
Very good. All right. I think I'm all out of different things for all the different hats you wear. We haven't had any emergency weather. I hope we don't have any.
I agree with that.
And let's keep it that way. But there have been other locations in the United States that have been getting some pretty nasty
they
weather.
have.
So be prepared for that at all times. But again, thank you, Brad, for coming in.
Thanks for having
me. Mayor Nash does this. As no city dollars or tax dollars are paid to make him come here. He does this out of his own pocket. We thank him for doing it. And we hope that everything works well with the toy drive. That's coming up, and I'll be here before you know it. And our next meeting will be on the 19th, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I will be gone, but if you want to come in and speak with Bob that next morning, you are more welcome
you're
to
gonna
do
be
so.
Gone.
Yeah, I will be gone that Tuesday.
I didn't get your request.
I didn't either. I put it in. It's somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
It was submitted somewhere. I just don't know where
the dog ate it.
I don't know where the dog ate it. I probably slipped between the cracks, but nonetheless. But anyway, you're always more than welcome to come in and discuss the Alderman meeting. That's right here on KSMO Radio 1340. And our Mayor's Moments. Again, thank you, Brad, for coming in. Keep it here, KSMO. We got AP News next, right here on 1340.
Let's talk. More music. KSMO Salem.